You know, a lot of spiritual motherfuckers get non-duality just completely incorrect. And I'm gonna be honest, bro. I understand this because this happened to me too. You know what I mean? Trust me. I'm way more spiritual than all those spiritual motherfuckers because I actually live this shit instead of just talking about it on the internet. I like to talk about it on the internet too because, you know, this is like my purpose. So I gotta like get people to understand it. But it's like the thing that most spiritual motherfuckers miss, that I miss too, is that although the, you know, relative experience is an illusion, space-time and, you know, physicality and things of this nature, they're only an illusion from the absolute perspective, from the perspective of the all, from the perspective of God, okay? And so, like, let me just pause right here because, like, I'm just gonna say it unless you've never heard it before. You're not God. And you never will be. And you know what? I'm gonna be honest. I don't think you wanna be because you have a finite nervous system that can't hold infinite weight. You know what I'm saying? And like the thing is, this is really important because like I know what it's like to like gaslight yourself. And you'd be like, oh, you know, it's all just an illusion and none of it oh, it's all just perfect and it's all love. And it's like, you know, the thing is, those things are true. And stop gaslighting your nervous system and stop gaslighting other people. Right? And this is the problem. Like, most of these spiritual motherfuckers are just regurgitating things that they don't actually know about. And like I said, I was doing this too, so I understand. But then I decided to stop regurgitating things I didn't know about. And I just like sat with the things. And I actually started being like, oh, this is that, and that's why, and this is like, huh. And I was really living these things throughout like 2025. And I spent like so much time just like doing the real work, which was like the real contemplation, the real like integration, like stillness, like choosing to be silent more, choosing to be still more. Like, yo, the butterfly, oh my gosh. I thought it was like a leaf falling because I saw it was like yellow, but I'm like, wait, wrong season. It was a butterfly. Non-duality is actually pretty easy to understand. Once you stop letting the spiritual ego gaslight your nervous system. That's always the trick. It's always the spiritual ego being a tricky bastard. Okay? The ego is fucking crazy, dog. And that's the point. Because the ego is supposed to be the contrasting principle in your mind. And that contrasting principle is the thing that pushes you towards your true nature, by the way. You know what I mean? And so, like, ontologically, eternally, nothing that shifts in, like, time-space, like, nothing that changes form is, like, ontologically real. Because it's always moving. It doesn't have any like stillness to it. If it's always changing, then that means that it's like, oh, man, this is so hard to explain. Yo, give me a sec, let me cook. If it's always changing, that means it relies on something that isn't always changing. Because the thing is, like, space-time has cause and effect, cause and effect, cause and effect. That's what movement is. But if you go back far enough, you have to get to a point where there is a still first cause. Aristotle called this the unmoved mover. that first cause, that first reality that all other things permeate from. That isn't just like a, hey guys, there you are, you get sent off into space-time, get fucked. No. The source is not just the creator, but also the sustainer. The source is the infinite current of reality that all life is involved with. And so, eternally, the source does not change. What these spiritual motherfuckers don't get when they say everything is an illusion is that, like, matter isn't, like, the first real thing. That's really the game we're talking about here. It's that all of this shit was mental first. You know what I mean? In the mind of God. We are all divine images of the Creator. In the beginning was the Word, Logos. The Hermetic traditions like to teach that from the shining mind of the All, man was created. From the Logos. And the thing is, I love the Corpus Hermeticum's depiction of man coming into being, because I think that metaphorically and mystically it is extremely accurate. And metaphysically. Of course. The Corpus Hermeticum depicts the coming of man from the mind of God as shining and perfect and as purely spiritual, reflecting that of the Creator, reflecting the Creator's light nature. And then man got entangled with Mother Gaia. Right? He saw her looking all good and shit, and they, you know what I mean? They got together. And from that place, us as humans were born. And now, obviously, I'm not saying that, you know, like, there was some, like, all-being man, like, that fucked the earth or something. You know what I mean? But like I said, metaphysically and metaphorically and mystically, these things, like this story, like this teaching and this depiction from the Hermetic tradition in the Corpus Hermeticum, it shows this reality that before physical man, there was first an eternal man, the spiritual man, or woman, of course. And the thing is, you have this temporal, I heard a fucking beat. You have this temporalness, the physicality that is finite, that has a finite nervous system, that is very real. I don't know about you guys, but like, if you cut yourself, that shit hurts, right? Like, when I throw this at, shit, I missed. Let's go. Like, when I throw that at my phone, like, that happened in space-time. The physical plane has laws. We study them in science and in philosophy. But there's also so much more beyond. So much more. And if we stay in our finite awareness, if we don't expand, if we don't hold multiple perspectives, which is really what this is, the non-duality trap, as I like to call it, is the collapsing of the absolute and the relative perspectives in favor of the absolute perspective and denying the relative. In favor of just the absolute perspective of the all, or of the eternal nature, rather than also holding with just as much honor and dignity and divinity the temporal existence, the finite expression. The relative experience comes from a very interesting polarized universe that we live in. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of things we're called to hold in this polarized universe, a lot of polarity. And the problem is, most people see polarity as just one or the other. And if you're always living in this separation, this like duality, right? That's what non-duality is. Like the reason non-duality is non-duality is because it is negative clarity for duality. Like that's literally what it is, like philosophically. Like it's saying, hey, there's this duality thing, and although we're experiencing it and it's definitely manifesting, it's not actually the highest reality. That's literally what non-duality means in the simplest fucking word. Like in the simplest terms of just breaking down what the word actually fucking means. But all these spiritual motherfuckers are gaslighting themselves. And like I said, I get it. I was there. And so I want to correct that. Because if you collapse the ontological reality, and when I say ontology, I mean that which is eternal, the interiority, the metaphysical principle, the metaphysical reality, like the spiritual man, like the soul, right? That which always existed beyond anything before space-time, that which doesn't change, ever, because it's a reflection of the unchanging nature of the all. A lot of people mess up because they start believing that they can only, or they should only, hold the ontological perspective of that which is eternal, that which is absolute. Reality is an illusion. It doesn't sustain itself. It relies on the sustainer. And anything that has to rely on something else is inherently not true in a sense, philosophically, ontologically. And that's the thing, like, most people aren't very clear with what they mean because they don't know what they mean. Because, like, no one has enough rigorous devotion to give metaphysics because they don't care. Like I said, most people just want to talk about this shit on the internet. You know what I mean? And it's like, I love talking about metaphysics on the internet because I do it better than most people. And it's just like my favorite thing. But first and foremost, you gotta live this shit, bro. Because you are a human with a nervous system. You're also a soul that is infinite. And that's an interesting reality. It's an interesting paradox to hold. It's tough a lot of the time. Because you have this infinite nature, but this finite expression. And there's always a fundamental mismatch. And it's like, fuck me, I get it. That's what divine dissatisfaction is. We always have this, like, this relentless feeling inside of us to grow, to become. And we think that that's just like lack, but it's not. That's not true. And you're always gonna, like, oh shit, I'm about to just like fall over the fucking, you know what I mean? It's about to fall over the sun. It's not true though. Because you were always one with the infinite. And your infinite nature is what you are. Like I said, ontologically, eternally. That doesn't change. What does change is our beliefs. What does change is our physical, reality. Like this temporal space-time thing changes. What also changes is, like, the cosmological expression of the self. Like, we transform. These things are true. And we have to recognize, when are we talking about the universe and things that exist within the polarized universe and the temporal nature and the polarized way of things? When are we talking about evolution? Whenever we're talking about anything that moves or changes or evolves or transforms or polarity or duality or any of that shit, all of that, creation, all of that, cosmology, baby, and on. There is zero movement or transformation or space-time, like reliance within ontology. And when I say space-time reliance, I mean, we all have ontologies. Like, we all come from the one ontology, love. We all come from the one ontology of truth and goodness and beauty. That is what God is. We all come from that infinite intelligence. That is our nature. We also are unique expressions of that ontology. We are unique expressions of love and truth and intelligence. That's why we have unique perspectives. That's why we have unique intimacy. That's why we have unique gifts and unique presence and unique ways of understanding reality and unique skills and unique experiences. And that's why we're all unique beings with also unique becomings. And like the problem is most people are always like projecting. They're like, hey, I'm like this. You're supposed to be like that. Our group is like this. Everyone else is out. I'm not here to talk shit about religion today. I love religion, but damn. Right? I'm a very proud Christian mystic. Fundamentalists be losing me a lot of the time. You know what I mean? As a lot of religious people and a lot of spiritual motherfuckers do. Right? I don't relate with any of y'all because all of y'all be in BS. You know what I mean? So if you guys want to be rigorous mystics, yo, let's get it. Like, you feel me? Like, that's what we're here to do, baby. Because goddamn, bro, I need some more rigorous mystics. I need some more people who are gonna question the BS. I need some more people who want to live this shit first before yapping about it online. You know what I'm saying? Not enough people want that. So I'm just trying to create a safe space for the people that do. If that's you, yo, welcome. You feel me? I'm glad you found a fellow homie. You know what I mean? And I'm glad I found you. You should introduce yourself. I love making new friends. You feel me? That was like a CTA to comment, but you can also DM me. My socials are in below. Non-duality trap is dangerous because the spiritual ego wants you to believe that everything is just perfect and good so it doesn't have to die. Right? Like, it doesn't want things to transform because it's going against your lawful transformation. It's the contrasting principle. That's what it is. That's what the ego is in your mind. Your soul always wants to evolve towards its infinite nature, right? Now, it can't ever reach it within space-time because space-time is finite, I mean, right? It reflects infiniteness and it holds infiniteness, but ultimately, space-time is evolving. It is temporal, right? We are all finite expressions of the infinite, but we also hold infiniteness within that finitude. We are all droplets within the ocean, but we also contain an ocean within our very droplet. You know what I mean? It's like we are all Can my finger get into the shop? My finger can't get into the shop. There we go. We are all rays of sunlight. And we also contain our own sins within the ray. That's what non-duality is. That is what non-duality is. Being both the droplet within the ocean, reliant on the ocean, only made of the ocean, and yet containing your own infinite ocean within that finite expression. You are a ray of sunlight that comes from the sun. It is nothing but what the sun is, and yet distinct. But you also have your own sun within that ray. It's fucking crazy, dog, right? Like, what? I'm telling you, bro. Real spirituality is way cooler than all that pop spirituality shit, guys. I'm telling you. This shit is way harder, bro. It's way cooler. So yeah, y'all should ditch that pop spirituality shit and become a rigorous mystic. You know what I mean? No cap. Stop denying yourself. Stop denying your physical experience. Stop gaslighting your nervous system into not feeling like angry or something like that, or not being sad. Negative emotions are a part of the experience too, baby. You gotta love those too. Like, you guys are supposed to be all about love. What's up? Why are you hating your negative emotions? You're still judging them. You're still judging other people. What's up? Come on, bro. Get that judgment shit out of here, baby. Discernment? Good. Discernment needed. Adding judgment that separates yourself from yourself, or yourself from others, or yourself from reality, yourself from God, yourself from anything. No bueno. Because there's no separation ontologically. And so when we violate our nature, which is unified love, because love is all encompassing, love is one, we feel the violation. Karma corrects it. That's kind of just how the balancing of reality goes, or the universe goes, you know? All right, I'm gonna stop yapping. This has been good enough. Yo, if you want to work with me, if you're a statesman, an executive, or religious leader, talk to me. I have interior translation consultation advisory, polymath architect advisory. I have my interdisciplinary executive consulting, where I do interior translation across art, across science, across philosophy, business, governance, AI, what's the other ones? Language, and psycho-spiritual development. And so if you'd like my one-to-one services, one-time, or ongoing advisory, links in the description.